last couple of months, this seemingly little item has been subject to big conversations and policy discussion in the country. The plastic bag. It's been about 2 weeks now since the effect of the plastic bags ban in the country. And in this period, some people are yet to understand what all the fuss is all about. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But first, I'm curious to see how you are coping. Hanifa Finn is a businesswoman and a mother of 2 residing in Nairobi.
We are trying to adjust packaging of food. You know, in our houses, most of the people in Kenya, as mothers, I would say, I don't know if I'll say most of the people, but I'll say as mothers, there is always a way we store our foods. We love getting the small paper bags. We call them the nylon bags, the small ones, and then we stuff our food. Because Kenya, again, I would say economically, we've gone a bit, should I say high? The cost of living has gone high. So we budget per week. So as that budgeting comes, you have to buy a lot of food for that week. And then you divide for the 7 days. So dividing for the 7 days means that every day you'll be picking out something to cater for that day. But now it has really affected us. Do you know why? We can't get the nylon papers again.
Hanifa, who was used to storing her food in plastic bags, has had to make adjustments. Out with the bags, in with the containers.
It's not like I bought a lot of them, but at least every day I go to the market, when I get some small money, I see I get one of 100 bob.
Like many other Kenyans, Hanifa finds the adjustments costly and inconvenient, but she sees the bigger picture.
We should be honest here. The truth is, however much it is hurting us right now, there is something that we'll enjoy later on.
Mama Shiro's fresh fruit and vegetable stall is one of the biggest at the Nairobi West Shopping Center. We arrived just as the day's morning deliveries are being made. Potato sales, which has been among her highest, has since taken a nosedive. She blames the ban.
Nilikuwa nauza gunia 10, lakini sasa imepunguka mpaka gunia 3. Na mpaka inalala juu anakataa. Ukiwekea mtu anakuambia mimi sibebi, kama una kitu ya kuniwekea wacha niende. Kitu kama melon huwezi ukakatia mtu umshikia na mkono, ataenda nayo kweli? Anakataa, anasema ni uchafu unampatia. Watutafutie kitu ndio tuwe tukipangia biashara iendelee.
Bag ni moja, anataka vitu kama viazi, anataka vitu kama tomatoes, unaona hizi mix zote na cereals pamoja. Ya imetu affect tu sana.
A few meters from Mama Shiro's stall is this pile, a heap of waste wrapped in various forms and sizes of plastic bags lying just by the roadside of this busy shopping center. You and I both know just how common a sight this is in various parts of the country. Now, forget about the eyesore that such sights are for a second and think about this.
Every single bag that we have ever used in Kenya since the 60s still exists today, and that is the concern.
And that is not even the gravest scenario, because plastic bags have only been around for about 50 years, so there's no first-hand evidence of their decomposition rate. However, using respirometry tests, which are tests used to estimate rates of metabolism, scientists estimate that plastic bags take up to 1,000 years to break down. Now, that's a really, really long time. You're probably thinking, why is this such a big problem? Are plastic bags really that harmful to us?
We started this conversation about banning plastic bags in Kenya over 15 years ago. The reason being that the scientific evidence tells us that these petrochemicals are harmful to the environment. We find them in our water bodies. Our livestock are ingesting them. Even our fish are ingesting these plastic pollutants. And eventually they affect our health. And it's because of this concern that we decided to join actually the global movement to phase out plastics in our economy. And in Kenya, we've just started very simply by starting with the plastic carrier bags, which are used abundantly by everyone.
Dr. Ruth Odhiambo, a lecturer at the Department of Chemistry at the University of Nairobi, says it's crucial for Kenyans to understand and own this cause.
It is important that apart from people not wanting to be on the wrong side of the law, they need to know the impact on their health. When they inhale those toxic gases that are released, it affects the hormonal balance. Some of these gases are carcinogenic. So some people end up contacting or getting cancer due to long exposure to these toxic fumes when plastics are burnt. So I think there is a lot of need for education.
A huge global concern is the quantity of plastic waste that end up in the world's oceans, either by being blown by wind, carried by water, or directly disposed into these oceans. In 2010, scientists discovered a giant garbage patch in the Indian Ocean, which is partly made of plastic bags. Early 2017, scientists also discovered a pocket of plastics, human trash, and chemical waste in a newly explored region of the Pacific Ocean. Now, here's the shocker. Though researchers are still determining the garbage patch's size, it is estimated to be 4 times the size of the United Kingdom or 1.5 times the size of Texas. All this being a heap of waste sitting in the ocean, most of which cannot decompose. Yeah. Again, why is this a concern?
Plastics find their way into the ocean when they are carried by wind or when they are carried by water. And it is a big concern because we have some marine life that feed on some particular food like jellyfish. And you see jellyfish, it almost looks like plastic. You know, when you look at the color in water, it looks like plastic. So at times when they think they're eating the jellyfish, they are actually eating the plastic. Now, when they eat the plastic chokes the digestive tract. So they think that they are full, they think that they are satisfied, while ideally they just choked with the plastic because it cannot be easily digested. So some of them end up dying from starvation. Some of these marine animals also, they get strangled, they get entangled by the plastics. And some of these marine animals, you know, when they eat the plastics, some of these plastics, they have the toxic chemicals we were talking about. So they get absorbed into their systems. So in the long run, it also contributes to their death.
This is why ocean pollution should concern you. If animals such as turtles and fish don't die from swallowing the trash, their bodies are likely to become more toxic due to the chemicals found in plastics. This, in turn, makes them unsuitable for consumption by humans and other creatures. Further, it's estimated that by 2050, 99% of birds will have plastics in their guts due to the extraordinary amount of goods disposed of by humans.
I think it was last year or the other year, I was affected directly. There was a time there was a lot of rain, and then it became, the whole place was flooded. Many people, I don't know, but I will talk about my experience here. I live around Timor, and the whole place was flooded with water. Reason being, the trenches were all blocked with the plastic bags. And the plastic bags, where are they coming from? From us.
All right, so that's a rather grim picture of the kind of harm caused by plastics. Question is, are we all smiling now that plastic carrier bags have been banned in the country? Well, some of the manufacturers in Kenya are not smiling. In fact, they say that there is a dark side to this ban, which is loss in export revenue and foreign exchange due to this ban. The manufacturers say that the ban is untimely and that the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, did not come out clearly on the take-back scheme and end-user liability.
I'm not sure of whether their products fall under the ban or are outside of the ban. If NEMA had put out the guidelines right from the beginning that if you do A, B, C, D, you qualify for exemption, then these questions would not be arising. So there needs to be clarity on these issues.
First of all, for any delegated legislation, there's a clear process in the Constitution and the Statutory Instruments Act. it requires that there's adequate public participation, and the public participation must be on that specific legislation. So not on general issues. If you draft it, you share it, and then the public gives its views on that specific legislation, and out of those views you make adjustments where there is need.
Kenyan manufacturers have placed a host of requests to NEMA in light of the ban. For instance, they want the ban to be lifted on products from Export Processing Zone (EPZ) factories, saying that it's crippling sales and that the destination countries have their own environmental management policies. EPZ farms say that exports of garments has stalled because packaging is regarded as secondary packaging. The manufacturers say the ban is resulting in huge revenue losses for the country.
There's been no bread being packed, no salt being packed, milk, sugar, horticulture has stopped exporting, flowers have stopped exporting, simply because we haven't got clarification from NEMA on how to do this packaging.
Under the Act, what you're required to do as a government institution proposing is to undertake a regulatory impact assessment and look at the full effect of the proposal that you're making. And thirdly, it must be tabled in Parliament within 7 days. So those procedures had not been followed, and we did raise the concern with the ministry, and they were insistent that we have been discussing over the years, but what we've been discussing is waste management. A new document of a ban is a fresh discussion that does require that consultation to avoid the issues we are seeing today.
The argument by the manufacturers is one echoed by a host of other think tanks who believe that plastics in general are not really the problem and that the issue is how Kenya manages its wastes. The Kenya Association of Manufacturers gave a proposal for a waste management program through the Finance Bill of 2017. In a sit-down with Environment Cabinet Secretary Judy Wahungu, I asked her whether this was ever considered.
Is it more of a waste management issue, or is it the plastic bags per se? Let me reiterate what I said from the beginning. Polythene bags are petrochemicals that are pollutants that are toxic. It is my duty to address all toxins in the country, be it air pollution, be it lead poisoning, be it petrochemicals. That is what I am addressing.
The plastic hazards conversation is a global one, and countries that have put in place policies to manage plastic waste have used different approaches ranging from total ban on plastics, ban on the production of certain plastics, levying taxes on plastic products, to mandatory recycling targets. Did Kenya consider some of these approaches?
Yes, we considered all these options. Let me also say that what we are doing now is not written in stone. This is going to be a work in progress, and we will make adjustments as we go along. It is not written in stone. We are very open to Kenyans' ideas. For example, for this ban to take effect, every single Kenyan must want it to succeed.
And then there's a big elephant in this conversation. For essential businesses like those ran by garbage collectors, more effort has to be put to adjust to the realities of the ban. While NEMA still permits the use of garbage bags, it insists they must be imprinted with details of the manufacturers and end users. This is yet to be done by most manufacturers. Kenyan households now mostly use the garbage bags they have left, as the printed ones are yet to be supplied, or find other ways of disposing trash.
Usually they used to provide for us the plastic bins, but now they cannot provide for us the buckets. So at the end of the day, it is just us find a way of trashing the bins, but we have a place where we trash our old dirt. But I cannot keep on, I live on the 10th floor. I cannot keep on, like I have a packet of milk, I go downstairs, it's really cumbersome.
Ile shita tunaambiwa ati mpaka lazima hiyo karatasi hiyo iprintiwe na kampuni kama sisi tunajiita Shima Beans. Uweke jina ya Shima Beans na uweke na namba ya mkubwa. Alafu kwa kampuni mali penye mnaenda kutengeneza tena hiyo iwe na jina ya hiyo kampuni na majina ya namba za simu za huyo. Na hawa Wahindi wanasema hiyo wanaokopa hawawezi, wamekataa.
So many households in Kenya have been using used plastic bags, which they have been getting freely from the supermarkets to dispose of garbage. But right now, what happens now that plastic bags have been banned? Certain garbage companies are asking the households to dispose of garbage in containers such as this, which they then come and collect from the households and dispose of directly to their garbage trucks and off to the dumping sites. Of course, this then posing different kinds of dangers. For example, this is clearly a health hazard. East Africa's Rwanda is seen as a model country for its effective ban on plastic bags since 2008. You will not see plastic bags floating around the streets, hanging from trees, and plugging up drains in Rwanda. In fact, many consider Rwanda's capital, Kigali, to be the cleanest city in Africa. All right, so now I want to find out exactly how Rwanda managed to transition successfully and whether there's a thing or two that Kenya can learn about plastics from Rwanda. So I'm going to try to get in touch with my colleague Eugene Anangwe from Rwanda. I'm just going to do a video call from WhatsApp and have a chat with him about this, just to try and share some lessons, because Eugene has been there for some time to find out what lessons Kenya can find from them. Hi, Eugene.
Hi, Sharon. How are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. So, you know, we are talking big about plastics in Kenya now.
Right. I've been following all the talk about plastic ban in Kenya.
Right. And we want to find out, how did Rwanda manage to phase out plastics successfully?
Right. With Rwanda, actually what happened is that in 2004, there was a cabinet decision that was made that, you know, we have to do away with plastic bags after they were seen as a menace. The whole street were littered with, especially the black plastic bags which people used to use, you know, to pack various products, and the almost colorless polythene bags which were used to, you know, wrap milk, even water. And so what the cabinet decided in 2004 was that we have to phase this out. And you can imagine the resolve that the cabinet had, with no legal background or backup to actually you know, implement this. They did push the public to actually adhere or respect this until 2008, when a formal law was actually put in place by the parliament to actually ban the use of plastic bags. And so it started off first as a resolution by a cabinet, and then into a legal you know, thing that was passed by parliament, and then it started off from there. 2004, then 2008.
All right.
It wasn't easy because, yes, because the citizens, especially those who are business people who used to wrap some of the products using plastic bags, protested against this, and they had to be trained or told the importance of keeping off the plastic bags, and this is how they you know, embrace the whole idea.
Okay.
And Rwanda is where it is today.
All right, and I can say that that is kind of a similar reaction we are seeing here in Kenya. And what would you say are some of the gains that have come out of this policy in Rwanda? Just briefly.
Right. The gains, very, very, very significant. When you look at Rwanda, when you hear of Rwanda, when it comes to the cleanliness, it's evident. You do not see any plastic bags develop on any sort of litter in the street. And so the environment has been very clean. The land, you know, the soil has been very fertile. When it comes to the street where they've planted grass, you know, it's so green because the soil is very fertile. So one thing for sure is that it has put Rwanda on the map of one of the countries that remain clean and environment, you know, serving kind of country that respects matters of environment and sees environment as an important thing.
All right, many thanks, Eugene Anangwe, my colleague there from Kigali. And the question now is, can Kenya learn a thing or two from this policy that has been effectively in Rwanda?
There are many lessons to be drawn. I hesitate always to compare ourselves to countries like Rwanda or Uganda simply because our economy is much larger. We have got so many more manufacturers, more industries here. So although we are united in wanting to address the polythene bags, each country, because of its distinct situation and perspective, has to have nuances that cater to that country. So Kenyans, yes, we're together in East Africa, but we must address it in the Kenyan way and in the Kenyan manner, and that's why I've said, going forward, we will just continue to listen to the perspectives of Kenya and incorporate them as we go. But I look forward to a polythene bag-free and beautiful Kenya.
Some plastic manufacturing companies in Kenya have since gone out of business, leading to hundreds of job losses. The government is optimistic that the situation is self-resolving.
For me as an environmentalist, I'm excited about the jobs that I am creating. I just ask Kenyans to find time to come to this exhibition today and tomorrow and to see the diversity of Kenyans that are exhibiting the materials here. Everyone here is telling me that now, since the announcement of the ban, business is booming. We will create more jobs and opportunities for Kenyans than those jobs that will be lost for those individuals that are working on that line that manufactures plastic bags.
So as we look for alternative methods, we also need to find out what is their durability in the environment. Are they going to take 1 year? Are they going to take 10 years? And what is the effect of that? In case people choose to burn them as a means of getting rid of them, do they release gases into the atmosphere? Which gases are these? Are they greenhouse gases that will increase to, global warming? So those are some of the things that we need to take into consideration.
A few weeks after the plastic bag ban was effected in Kenya, and the policy ping-pong continues among the players. I guess the question is a plastic-free Kenya an end deserving of the phase-out means that's been put in place? Do Kenyans unanimously agree on the gains this policy promises? Do they have to? Or should the stewardship of the vision be entrusted to the leadership as an act of posterity? Sharon Momanyi, KTN News.
Now, 13 members shy.